Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, 5 Steps for Press Conference Success. I'm going to be your host, Adrian Beecher. Before we dive into things, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. So as I said before, I'm Adrian Beecher. I'm a 24-year-old master's student in public relations at the University of Full Sail in Orlando, Florida. I'm a Army veteran. I was in the United States Army for 3 years. I worked as a communications specialist. I also worked with setting up stuff for the internet in the services. Since then, I've divulged into the media industry. I've covered the past 2 college football national championships. I also cover events that range from the NFL, college football, Arena Football League, the NHL, MLS. I'm also a communications intern for the Arena Football League. So I've seen quite a bit of press conferences in my 3 years of time in the media industry. And a lot of times everything varies. It just depends on what type of event that is going to be going on. So as we can see from the screen, we've got multiple different events that are going on here. One is a specific press conference, as you can see, with Duke's Mike Krzyzewski down in the lower right hand corner, and then on the lower left hand corner, that's the Rose Bowl. They've got a centerpiece out with the trophy, and it's really a lot of stuff goes into planning for those types of press conferences. So press conferences are very different. At the top of the screen you can see that we have a Orlando City press conference, and this is a press conference that they did before their game against Toronto FC. It was Brek Shea, Kaká, Jozy Altidore, and Michael Bradley. And what that was for was basically, since there was 3 players that played for the United States national team plus Kaká, so they got that together for the press. Now there's going to be 5 keys, and I'm going to give you these step by step. So let's get started here. This is your key to success if you want to be able to run a press conference and have it go off without a hitch and be able to promote your brand and get anything that you're going to do out there to the press in a professional manner. When doing any event, location is the key element, and this does not end when you're talking about a press conference. This is essential. So Orlando City, for instance, had a press conference to announce their Fill the Bowl campaign, where they actually were able to get over 60,000 fans into the Orlando Citrus Bowl for their inaugural match of the MLS. And as you can see in this one, they had that press conference at the Citrus Bowl, and they had the Fill the Bowl campaign back on the Jumbotron, and there's just a great element that they put into the press conference to make for a great atmosphere. Now, every press conference is different. So at the top right hand part of your screen, you can see this is National Championship Media Day. So this is about a press conference for the entire team, where the media gets access to all of the players that play on a football team when they get to go to the national championship. Okay, so if you need that many players, you're obviously gonna have that much media that's going to be there. Then you also need to think about how much space you're going to need. Now, other press conferences, as you can see on your left hand side, you've got a press conference set up. This is also on Media Day, but it just shows you the different elements that you need to be able to have. So they've got trusses and stuff like that, so that you're going to have to be able to make sure that wherever you're holding this, you're going to be able to bring that stuff in there. And then in the bottom, you have a basic forum press conference where you've got one person in the front and in front of an assembly of the press and other people that are affiliated with the association. And so those are those keys. Now, key number 2, those are your setup. So when you're dealing with setup of a press conference, just depending on what the type of event is going to be, that's going to determine how you set this up. Now, how many people are you going to have there? As you can see in the lower left-hand corner, you've got water bottles set up along with power bars and the name of one of the players. And what this was for media day for the Rose Bowl game this past year. And what that was water bottle for all the players on the team, but one key player's name was put on there. So in setting this up, you need to think about how many people are going to be there. And also, if you can see on your right hand, the lower right hand corner of your screen, there is a Coke Zero bottle on the front hand, in the front of the coach. And what this is basically sponsorship activation. So they have a deal with Coke Zero where they put that on that table, and then Coke will pay them so much to have that. So those are some key elements you need to look at. And then who is going to be doing in there for the press conference? So do you have one person, do you have two people? You see at the top left hand side of your screen, you've got one person talking, everybody else has their different microphones, they're a little bit lower. In the bottom right, you've got obviously one coach talking to the media after the game, and in the upper corner, you've got upper right hand, you have a coach and the main player of the Orlando City soccer team talking. And you need to just make sure that you have enough microphones ready to go. You have those different elements. If the coach wants water, make sure you've got that up there. Whoever is going to be up there with doing the press conference, make sure they have some stuff that they need, if they do need that. So let's continue now to the third key, which is moderation. So the person that you see here on the right hand side of your screen is Miss Gina Leahy. She's the communications coordinator and director of branding and communications for the college football playoff. So she, in this picture, is moderating the press conference. Moderation is key here, because when you have a large forum of media, it's best if you are picking out who's going to have the questions. Now, there are some times during, especially post-game, where there's going to be coaches that don't want to speak as much. So that's where our third key is going to come in. Now, you're going to moderate this, and then being able to pick out the certain questions that are going to be able to come on here. Now, it's not exactly what type of questions, but it's the amount of questions. So the moderator is in control of the amount of time that goes into these press conferences, and it's their job to make sure that it doesn't go overtime, or that, you know, the press conference doesn't get out of hand at any point. So that's going to take us right into our fourth key, which is the timing. So in any press conference, it's essential to understand that the people that are being interviewed get to a point where they don't want to answer questions anymore. So you've always got to take that into account, as well as the fact that their time means money, and their time is precious to whatever they're doing. If it's for a professional team, time is money. If it's for, you know, a CEO or a company that's doing the press conference, you got government officials coming, time is money. At the end of the day, you need to make sure that you're making sure that your press conference doesn't go for too long. So if you take it over here on the left-hand side of your screen, you've got a press conference for the media day. So now you have, during media day of the national of the Rose Bowl game right here, we have, now they did 30 minutes for one team, and then there's a break, and then there's 30 minutes of availability for the next team. And then on the upper right hand corner, you have coach for the Miami Hurricanes after a loss with the Florida State Seminoles. Now, obviously, he's not going to want to speak for very long, so it's the job of the guy, if you see on the far right hand top corner with picture with Al Golden of the Miami Hurricanes. That's their SID, so it's up to him to be able to stop this press conference whenever it's time. So always think about that. They do have media obligations, but it's up to you to make sure that they don't have to endure more than is necessary or than they want to. And then in the bottom right hand corner you have a moderator who is making sure that the time does not go over, because this is during media days for ACC basketball, so there's over 10 teams that they have in the ACC, and each of those teams brings 2 players that they get to speak to the media, and they speak one at a time, and it's really key for the moderator here to be able to make sure that the timing is right on point. So now once this timing is done, you brings you to key number 5, your closing, making sure that your people are able to get out. Now, what is one common thing that happens right after a press conference ends? As you can see in your lower right hand part of your screen, you have media that wants to get extra questions in. This is something that is very common. It's something that you're going to have to be able to adjust to as necessary and as needed, especially when you're dealing with people that are in the government that may have people that are on beats that didn't get their question answered during the press conference, and it's essential to them to be able to get that question answered, so they'll ask for it, a chance to speak with that said person. So this is very common, so that's something to watch out while closing. Make sure that you're able to talk with members of the media, thank them for coming, and wrap everything up in a timely fashion. And make sure you close the press conference by thanking people for coming and making sure that everything goes off without a hitch. Is going to come down for you being able to take these 5 keys and putting them to use and pulling off a press conference that will be a hit. So as long as you got your location, you do the right setup, you've got moderation, whoever's going to be able to do that, it's going to be key for them to get down that timing. And then once you lock in your closing, make sure everybody's happy, everybody's got their questions answered, you'll be good to go. It's essential for you to have this for your brands. All too often I go to press conferences and they won't have their logo even present during the press conference. There's so many cameras that are going to be around during press conferences. This is your one time to be able to get your brand out there and projected to the world in the manner that you wish it to be, because you have a chance to set that up and make it look professional and do everything that you can to make sure that they see that you have respect for your brand. And that's what it's going to come down to. Can you do that? And if you follow these 5 key steps, your location, your setup, your moderation, your timing, and your closing, then I can pretty much guarantee that you will have success in setting up a press conference in a successful manner and running it to a T. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.